Hi everyone. I am very excited to bring to you this series of lectures in astronomy. Now, today we will be talking about the structure and the composition of the sun. Now, by the end of this section, you will be able to explain the composition of the sun as well as describe how it differs from that of the earth. Now, we will also explain the various layers and the functions of those layers that make up the sun. Now, and lastly, we will explain what actually takes place in the different parts of the sun's atmosphere, as well as all other layers that make up the sun. Now, the sun, like all other stars, really is just a huge ball of extremely hot gas. Because these gases are really so hot, they are mostly ionized, which means that the sun is just a ball of plasma. The sun is really enormous. When I say enormous, I mean mind-blowing enormous. For example, if you were to feed Earth side by side, you will actually feed 109 Earths across the diameter of the sun. It's so huge that if you were to pack Earths inside of the sun, you will have to take about 1.3 million Earths to completely fill out the whole volume of the sun. That is really so huge. Now, unlike Earth that has a solid surface, the sun really is a ball of gas, so it doesn't have a solid surface. As a matter of fact, the sun has similar characteristics to Jupiter and all other Jovian planets than Earth and all other terrestrial planets, and it's huge. I mean, enormously huge. In this section, we will describe the changes that occurs throughout the sun's atmosphere as well as its interior, and I will bring to you visually, the violent eruptions that occurs minute by minute, day by day, year by year on the surface of the sun. Now, just to give you an idea of the size of the sun and some of its basic characteristics, now here are some facts. The mean distance, the average distance between the Earth and the sun, we call that in astronomy 1 astronomical unit, is a mind-blowing 150 million kilometers. As a matter of fact, it takes light that travels at about 3 million miles per second, 8 minutes to travel from the sun to the Earth. Now, if you want to compare the mass of the sun to the mass of Earth, it will take about 333,400 Earth masses to be equal to that of the mass of the sun. As a matter of fact, the sun is the bully of the solar system. It makes up about 99.9% of the total mass of the solar system. Its gravitational pull controls everything. And if you were to pull the sun away from the center of the solar system, all the planets will fly out at a tangent. As a matter of fact, we will cease to exist. Now, we are going to look at the composition of the sun's atmosphere. Just like Earth, the sun has an atmosphere. And we will begin by asking one very simple question. What makes up the atmosphere of the sun? That's a better way I can put it. How do we know the composition of the sun's atmosphere? To be able to study the composition of the sun's atmosphere, we really look at this from the spectra of light, coming from the sun. Now, it will be surprising to you that the sun largely or hugely is made up of two principal elements. About 73% to 74% of the sun's mass is purely hydrogen. About 25% is helium, which means that about 98% of the sun composed strictly of hydrogen and helium. Now, other elements that we love, for example, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, and all other heavy elements makes up just barely 2% of our sun. So isn't that incredible that the most hot, the most violent place in our solar system, our sun, really consists of just two basic elements? Now, In this series, we will actually explain why, and we will explain the effects and the ramification it has on the function, the life of the sun.